Hello again. Just thought I'd do another quick update on the Africa Twin. I am up to 1,000 miles, so double the mileage from my last little owner review. I did make a comment in a previous video about the gearbox being kind of clunky on this, especially the first to second change. Since I made that video, I have done the break-in oil change, and since then it seems better. So I'll go ahead and withdraw that comment. Did that oil change at 600 as recommended. Did it myself. This is some Castrol 1030 semi-synthetic. Mainly chose that. I did want to run a synthetic oil in this just from the beginning. They're generally better. You can do your own research on synthetic oils and motorcycles and form your own opinion, obviously. But in general, synthetic oils are a good thing. But in a 1030 motorcycle oil, there's not a whole lot out there. So I mainly went with the semi-synthetic because of availability and price and whatnot. I initially was just going to use the Honda GN4, but I don't know. Right now we're on the Castrol semi-synthetic 1030.
Oh gosh, oh gosh. Oh, hello. I should punish you for jumping on me. I should punish you. Stop jumping on me. Ouch. Good thing I'm wearing body armor. You guys hungry? Hey, are you guys hungry? You guys hungry? Alright, we're back with the Africa Twin. It's now got over 1,000 miles on it, so double the mileage from my last review. I have done a few things to it since then. SW Motec tail rack, SW Motec quick release side racks. I'll put those on in a minute. Just slap my old magnetic tank bag on there. My USB port is in. I'll show you how that's wired in. It's factory spot there, a standard round power socket, just goes right in, real slick. I didn't even use a locking ring, it just fit real snugly, so you can kind of back it out some turns and pull it out if you need to, but it's super snug in there, so I'm fine with that. I had to take the side of the fairing off to fish the wire through, and I used some duplex 18 gauge wire, so it's got the positive and the ground just molded together, so it's cleaner. And I did put a little it's not a split tube, but kind of a braided wire sheathing on it too, so it's black, it looks slick, and I'll show you under the seat here. I got Eastern Beaver fuse block for it. Those are nice. You know, would be pretty easy to DIY this yourself too, but the Eastern Beaver product is really slick. Uses the OEM style connectors, plugs right in. This is a auxiliary power connector that was just there from the factory for some reason. It has both switched and unswitched and ground in there. So we've got, I don't have any of this really fastened down other than a zip tie here or there, but main fuse coming off the battery. The battery is behind this little toolbox thing. This toolbox I have to take off with the hex key, so it's kind of annoying. The hex key is here under the seat, so you've got to open that to get to this little tool pouch, if you will. But anyway, battery's back here, not really in a very accessible location. So I believe that's the reason why the main fuse is here instead of right up at the battery, which would be the safer place to put it. It is what it is. I thought about cutting that off and changing it for safety's sake, but it's pretty protected. The guy's got a cable protection on there already, so I wasn't too worried about it. Left that fuse where it was. It's just kind of pointless to have a main fuse right here next to your main fuse block, because what are you protecting? You're only protecting this short piece of wire. That's the only thing that's exposed that this fuse is going to protect you to, or protect you from, that these fuses aren't. So I saw that as somewhat unnecessary. It's good to have a main fuse, but it really should be as close to the battery as possible. But since this battery slides in, there's just not really a place to put it. So that is what it is. You got a main relay here, 30 amps. And then under this fuse block, I've got a 15 amp going to a tender lead. I just clipped off the onboard fuse. So I figured I can run my compressor off of this. And this is like a 16 gauge wire, so should be good. And then you have two other tails off here using these OEM style connectors. Nice thing about these is if I want to make my USB port you know, on all the time, I can just take my tender off. Bam, my USB port is now hot. Because I did get the Eastern Beaver set up where it's got one fuse that's hot and then two that are switched. So that's a convenience for, you know, obviously things that you want left on full time, and you can switch them however you want. So that's what I figured would work best for me. And since the only other electrical thing I would kind of plan on adding, maybe, that's not just going to run off USB, would be hand warmers or grip warmers. So I don't know, maybe I'll add them, maybe not. The wind deflection on this thing is good, so just with winter gloves you might be fine. But if I decide to put heated grips on it later, I'll probably use that third opening. But in the meantime, oh, and you know, you could just save this tender lead, just wrap it under here and not even have it plugged in until you actually want to use it. Because there, now it's plugged in. So that's the gist of the electrical modifications. Eastern Beaver with this nice little duplex wire with this braided jacketing that I put over it. Just followed some wiring under here, so I took off this little strip there, ran the wiring underneath along another wiring bundle, took the fairing slide off here, and then ran it into that USB socket. So we're good to go there. Alright, so SW Motec. I was going to go with the Honda panniers just because you didn't have to have the frame on there. But they were back ordered. I had no idea when they would be in stock, so I decided to go with kind of a more conventional setup. Dogs, come here. Stay close. This is Mercedes, my brother's dog Sandy that I'm watching apparently. She's here. So, this is the SW Motec Evo quick release thing. So it's just got these little locking deals. You pop in there, click, on. Just using the butt of a key for this. Just flat blade screwdriver would be good. There, side's on. Other side. Oh, I'm sorry, girl. I'm sorry. Oh, you're all right. You're all right. Popped her in the face. She's okay. Click. Come on, there we go. Click. All right. There. Racks are on. So that's a nice compromise. Far as I know, SW Motec is the only one that does the kind of quick removal rack like that. So that way, when I'm not running my panniers, just pop that off. Nice and clean look to the bike. All you have is these little tabs hanging out. not a big deal. One thing I did with this, the foot pegs, the bolt for the foot pegs had about 1 inch of thread engagement here, but the bolts that came with the SW Motec kit only had about 1/2 inch of engagement. They were longer, but by the time you put in the shim and this piece here, you had less engagement than you had before. So went over to the hardware store and got some stainless bolts for that. The only problem with that is I didn't have the Allen headed style. I had to get a 13 mil. So when will you need to take those off on the trail? Hopefully never, because it seems like most on this bike, most socket size you need would be a 10 mil and a 12 mil. So maybe I'll throw a 13 in the toolkit, or just not worry about it, because when am I going to have to take those off? Hopefully never. I don't have any panniers yet. I'm thinking I will do the Moscow Moto. Moscow discontinued their 25 liter Scout soft pannier. What they were doing for a while is selling the Backcountry 35 liter and the Scout 25 liter, because otherwise, design-wise, they're identical other than the depth of it. But the way they cinch down, they say just don't pack the right side as much and pull the straps in, and then it'll look smaller. I might do that, but they've got a deal going on right now. Since they were selling an asymmetric set, they ended up with extra left side 25s and extra right side 35s. But you can mount them backwards. Normally they'd have a pouch in the back and a MOLLE connection up front. So you mount them backwards and you just have your pouch up front and your MOLLE in the back. They work the same. So that would save a few bucks, or a few hundred, to go with the asymmetric set, but kind of backwards from how they were designed and sold. I'm going to go check them out and see if I even care. I might just go ahead and get the straight 35 liter set and pack them a little less, but you can see how much that protrudes on the right side more so than the left. I'm just kind of thinking that'll drive me nuts, and I'll like the narrower on the right. You know, it's a few inches, really. I don't know. You be the judge. I'll throw another video up when I get them and see what they look like. Advantage of leaving my racks on full time. What I did with my V-Strom was I had a tool tube that I had lashed to the back side of this rack that filled in this area here. You could unscrew it here. It was handy to pack some more stuff in there, especially since the toolbox on this is kind of weird. There's not a whole lot of room under the seat. Would be nice to have that tool tube in. Now, I don't know if it'll drive me totally crazy to leave the left side rack on and take the right side rack off. That might not drive me crazy with the, the exhaust on one side and then that rack tied on the left side. We'll see, especially if I have the tool tube there and it just kind of fills in the opposite of the exhaust. We'll see. But for now, I'm kitted up with some racks. Tail racks, side racks. I'll get panniers coming. Moscow Moto is kind of local to me, so I'm just going to drop in and check them out if they have time to meet me. And we'll go from there. In the meantime, I've just been running with my tank bag. Not a lot of space, and I'm probably scuffing up the paint with this magnetic thing. It kind of sits all right there. Good enough magnetic engagement. But yeah, that's that. I will briefly talk about one little quirk, which I'm hoping will get addressed in maybe a firmware, or not firmware, I do too much computer stuff. ECU flash is when you're warming it up, or even if it's warm and it's right after you've started it and it's kind of coming off at startup, code, it'll misfire or it'll stall. It probably won't do it now, but let's go ahead and fire it up. I'm in first gear. I'm in first gear. I've had several times where you fire it up, but dies. Like, what? It's a brand new fuel injected bike. Why is it dying? Of course, it's not going to do it now, but maybe if we sit here for 30 seconds or a minute, you'll hear it misfire. But it might not do it. Seems like you fire it up, idles for a bit, and it must just come off that startup enrichment or however they have this set up, and as it's transitioning, it misfires. But you drive it just fine. You know, even if it's cold and you get right on it and ride it, it's fine. It's only when it's idling you'll hear these misfires or it'll stall. I'm just going to hang out here and see if it does it. What? I'm out of gas. Where'd my gas go? Oh, trip meter. Alright, well, I think I would have done it already if it were going to do it. But yeah, it seems like cold, half warmed up. Even sometimes when it's totally warmed up and you just start it, it'll misfire or stall. But it's just basically a one-time thing. You get on it, ride it, it's totally fine. But it just seems like there could be a little more refinement on the warm-up. Or maybe it's just mine. No crash protection yet. Seems like a lot of stuff is out of stock, you know, new development, so bash plate, crash bars, I will put them on, just haven't yet. I'm just going to try to use up my tires a little bit, not go too crazy with this bike for now, try not to layer down and scratch it up. Hope for the best, but yeah, next season, knobbly tires, crash protection, use this thing. Alright, hope that was informative. Let me know if you've got any questions. Yeah, otherwise I'm totally loving it. 1,000 miles, thumbs up. Take care.